I gotta ask you your thoughts on a couple of movies, right?
All right.
So most people don't really know what the Mafia is like.
Yeah.
So people, the movie industry glamorizes the Mafia, obviously, right? Casino, Goodfellas, A Bronx Tale, Sopranos, all these TV shows, and everybody loves these movies and these TV shows. You ask anybody, what's your favorite movie? What's your favorite movie? It's The Godfather. They name these movies, right? A lot of them won Oscars. Best actor, best supporting actor. What were your thoughts on these movies? Like Sopranos, for example, right? That took place in Jersey, your hometown. Did you ever watch it, or were you familiar with it?
Yeah, well, it's funny because it came out when I was in prison. I would call up my friends and go, oh, my God, there's this show on HBO, Sopranos. They're having soprano parties on Sunday nights. It blew up. So I never saw any of it. But when I got out, I had a friend of mine in England, no less, this guy I met that lived in London. He sent me the box set of The Sopranos, and I watched it on when I got out of prison. That was realistic. I have a lot of thoughts on that because there's something that people don't catch that I realized because I guess I was in the life. So, I mean, that was realistic outside of him seeing a psychiatrist. That would have never happened. He would have got killed. Mm-hmm. There was no way a boss or anybody. Like, my father had a friend. He was a soldier in the Colombo family. He had a legitimate nervous breakdown in the 80s, like legit. Like, nobody knew back then what bipolar was. He was probably bipolar, unmedicated. Today it would have been a different story. They have all these medications. Back then they had, you went to the nut house, right. You got shock treatments. So he had a nervous breakdown and he went to a psych ward. He got out and about a year later he had another nervous breakdown. He disappeared off the face of the earth. That's how the mob dealt with mental illness. You disappeared.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that would have never happened. But other than that was realistic. Casino, realistic. Goodfellas, definitely realistic. Very close to my heart because I knew them personally. My father was actually named in the beginning of it, Fat Andy.
Gene mentioned that too.
Right,
yeah.
Which was a real surprise because the first time I went to see it, I'm in the theater with all my friends. We knew them. I dated the guy that Jimmy Burke played, the guy that Robert De Niro played, Jimmy Burke. I dated his daughter. I knew him very well. I mean, I went to his funeral. I knew his whole family. Tommy DeSimone, the part that Joe Pesci played, he used to take me out with him. Like, he used to come to my father's bar and say, listen, I'm going to take your son out. And my father just, don't get my son in trouble. No. And he used to take me out with him. So Paulie Valley, I used to go in his house with my father. So I knew all of them personally.
Wow.
So that was like special to me, that movie. But now the first time I went to see it, I'm in the theater and all my friends are with me, and they panned the Bamboo Lounge. And when they said Fat Andy, all my friends go, that's your father, in the middle of the movie. Like, the movie theater was mobbed. That was realistic. Donnie Brasco was realistic. But people don't understand. They glamorize it, but what happens at the end of all those movies? Mm-hmm. Casino, they all got murdered, brutally murdered, right? Goodfellas, what happened? They all went to prison. Who got murdered? Who went to prison? Casino, they all got murdered. The Godfather 1 and 2, he ended up alone in a chair. He killed his own brother. Every movie, even now the show I did, Get Gotti, tremendous hit on Netflix, right? Beyond My Wildest Dreams, #1 in the world. And I tell people, it's not a love story. They make it like John's, he looks great, he's laughing and he's high-fiving, but at the end of the day, the poor man died chained to a bed.
Right.
Like a dog in a prison hospital. Nobody wants it. I want to die home in my bed with my family. I don't want to die chained to a bed. My father, Fat Andy, bigger than life, died broken alone, after doing 13 years in prison. So, there's not a pot of gold at the end of that rainbow. You know what I mean?
Not like the movies.
No, it's not like and that's what I do now. Like, I try to promote that. Like, the other day, I put out a picture I took in prison of us in front of our Christmas tree in a federal prison. And I put in the caption, I put, for those young men out there that think, the mob is all that, this is your future Christmas cards. Yeah. Federal prison, so that's my message. Like, listen, one time I loved being in that life, but look what I gave up. I spent almost 14 years in prison, 2 failed marriages, a drug addiction. I didn't see my kids grow up.
I mean, there's a lot on the other end. Like,
exactly.
They don't see it.
People don't see it. That's not in the movies. You know what they don't show in the movie? When my daughter used to come visit me and cry at the end of the visit, Daddy, why can't you come home? Mm-hmm. They left that part out.